Today, you're going to learn how to make custom video backgrounds. Oh, and hey, I'd like to point out this video's awesome sponsor, Skillshare.com, which offers thousands of classes in design, coding, business, and more. For instance, you're about to watch my web design tutorial, but you could watch this full web design course at Skillshare. Now, Skillshare is just $10 a month, but if you're the first 200 students to use my very exclusive link below in the description here in YouTube, then you get the first 2 months free. All right, so let's get started. Hey everyone, Gary Simon of Coursetro. So as some of you know, I've been working and preparing on planning on launching a second completely unrelated YouTube channel called Slant, and it's gonna be based on guitar and music and stuff like that. And so I've been showcasing some of the progress, like the logo design, as seen here. There's another video that you can watch on my YouTube channel where I cover that and my thoughts behind that. And I actually went with the more simple version for those of you who followed along on that. But today we're going to be designing or building this essentially, and this is a custom video background that I shot with my own camera. I'm going to show you the setup that I have for that with a camera slider. I'll just show you a couple pictures of that. And then we'll take a look at the raw footage of what I actually produced. And then I'll show you how I took it into Adobe After Effects to, give us a nice styled video background that's kind of watermarked in such a way that the content on top of it still is easy to see. And then at the very end, we'll take up, we'll open up the code editor, Visual Studio Code, and we'll do the HTML and CSS to make all of this a reality. Now, it's not 100% responsive or anything. I just kind of want to cover this main part being the video part as well. So, yeah. So for today's question, do you play any musical instruments? I figured I would make it kind of relevant based on the video today. And if you do, and you have work that you've created, or maybe you've recorded some songs or whatever, go ahead and link it, and I will approve your comment because YouTube will usually flag that as spam. So let me know, and let's get started. All right, so right here is a picture I took of my messy floor back behind me. Of the setup basically though with my camera slider, and this is a camera slider that I purchased. I probably shouldn't have purchased it, but I purchased it a while ago for the purpose of doing camera slides and just having nice real, whatever. I don't use it enough, but I found a purpose here. And basically what it allows me to do, you get the camera on top. That's a Panasonic Lumix G7 camera. I think they're only like $500 for the camera body, and then another couple $100 for whichever lens you choose. This is actually, I have two of these cameras, and I'm using that one here for all my videos that you watch on my YouTube channel. But anyhow, just there's a little remote control that allows me to control how fast the camera slides. And so that's what you're seeing there. This is the guitar propped up by an iPad, my daughter's iPad. Probably a stupid idea. It didn't fall, fortunately. And so I just took two different angles with this camera slider going. So just two videos came out of it. I'm going to show you those videos. One is called Upright Inside. So the one that you saw is this one right here. Now this is probably going to be kind of laggy for you, but it actually is pretty quick. But it's a big 4K resolution. I'm also recording currently on the computer, so it's going to look a little bit laggy. But yeah, I mean, you get the point. It's like a minute long. Obviously I cut that way down, and I just do a couple different speeds and all that stuff just at that angle. And then another one is the side angle. And so my intention was to just basically kind of take both of these angles and create a loop out of them. So two angles, and they're going to seamlessly loop with the video background. And so this is just a cool, as you can see, it's a nice lens that I'm using. I forget the specs of it, but it's very good for close-up and creating a lot of depth of field, which is what I wanted. All right, so then the final result is this right here. So you can see I angled it. I actually used Adobe After Effects. I'll show you how I do this in a second. I just rotated the entire video. And that way it's a play on my future YouTube channel that I've been working on. This is what this is for. On the whole slant thing. So I got the angled downward slant situation occurring. And there you go. It just loops. And obviously, I wanted to make sure it was compressed well enough so that it wasn't too large. It's about 3 megs. I probably could get it down a little bit more than that. But let me just show you the setup of the Adobe After Effects project that I have. So what I did is I imported those two files exactly as you just saw. That obviously the one that came out of the camera, just as they're MP4 files, they're 4K, they're real large. And so the very first one, at the very beginning of this timeline, all I did to it is I changed, if you hit F4 here, I changed it to luminosity. So if I go to normal, and then I change the opacity to 100%, this is what it came up. This is the actual look, and I also rotated it. So let me just back up. I just took the opacity down to 46% and changed it to luminosity. So what that does is it allows me to, I talk about this a lot on the Live Friday portfolio reviews, where I see people using photograph backgrounds or video backgrounds for hero sections where they have text on top of it. And if I had just left it, with a lot of contrast by default, by leaving it at 100%, for instance, that would be way too much contrast, and it would conflict with the foreground elements, the type, and it would be hard to read. So that's why you really need to get the opacity drop back down, and also you can experiment with blend modes right here as well. Just go through these things and just see how it affects the overall feel and look of the image. So that was at 46%. So, I could probably even go down further than that, but it still allows us to see it. And the way it works out is when the text, or when the video is going, the text is more to the left anyhow. So it works out. So all I do is just, I have some keyframes down here, if I can find them. Okay, that keyframe does nothing, actually. What happens once we get to the certain part in the clip, I just fade it out, and then I fade in, and the other one comes in, the other angle, which I rotated this as well. As you can see, if I hit R for rotation, I rotated at -47 degrees. So originally it came out like this, but I wanted to do the whole, the branding, the whole slant. The name of the project is Slant. So, and then at the very end, I transition this back, fade the other one back in. That way it creates kind of like a seamless loop for the animation. And that's it. It's about like 22 seconds long. And then just to show you what I did for exporting it, let's see here. What's the issue? File export. Add to Adobe Media Encoder queue. And I'll just show you kind of what I did. I only changed one setting, really. It's loading right now. It's loading up off the other screen. Anyhow, all right. So basically, it takes a little time for it to show. There it goes. And click on Match Source High Bitrate, and then come down here and change the target bitrate quite a bit. I think I used 1 meg. And you can see the estimated size is 3 megs. You can probably go down quite a little bit more than that even. Yeah, you can get down that size. It's around 1 meg, so it's not so bad. All right, so, and then you say okay, and that's how I got that final image of the MP4 file. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with actually implementing it. So we're going to do the HTML and CSS process. So let me get my console up here. This is Commander, cmder.net. It's a Windows console emulator. I'm going to make a directory called, let's see here, we'll call it Slant Video BG. All right, and then we'll also cd into Slant Video BG. All right, code period. We'll open up Visual Studio Code if you have that installed for your code editor. It's free from Microsoft, and it's what I use. Index.html we're going to create. And let's see here. Also a CSS file or CSS folder with a main.sass file. So SCSS extension there. We're also going to watch this Sass file. All right. And then also we're going to make a folder called images, and that's for the logo that's going to go in there. And then, yeah, I think what we'll do now is also I'll import the logo and also the video file as well. So I'm going to come up here, and our video file is right there. So I can copy that, right click, open, or reveal in Explorer rather. And I'm just going to put this video right there. Probably best to have like an assets folder and put it there, but no big deal, just for this demonstration. And then I'm going to get the SVG file, which, give me 1 second. So here we go. All right, so inside the images folder, I'm just putting the logo SVG file right there. All right, great. So now we have everything that we need. All right, so I'm gonna click out of here real quick. Also, I'm gonna right click. Oh, I'm gonna hit exclamation point to get some boilerplate HTML. We're gonna put link, and this is gonna be main, CSS main.css. I can't talk. And save that, and then right click, open with live server. And there's our blank project. Awesome. So now we're going to write out just some quick HTML to get the layout. I did have a layout right here, but we don't really need to refer to that. I'm going to make everything available on GitHub, by the way. So we're just going to have a div class of container. And then also inside of it, we'll have a header element with a logo. So we're going to put an A for a link there. It's not going to go anywhere. Image source equals our images / logo.svg. And the ID, ID equals logo. We'll reference that. All right, and then we're going to put in a nav element for a right-aligned navigation. And then we're going to have an ahref here. Home, and these are all just fictional links, of course. So Shift, Alt, and down arrow key a few times just to get some menus. Who, what, contact. All right. And then after that, we're going to have a hero section. So div ID, I'm just going to say hero. And then we'll have video. And this is how we're going to get our video in here. So we're going to add the attribute of autoplay. It's going to be muted. There's no sound in it anyways. We're going to loop it, and then ID equals video. And then also inside of here, we put in a source attribute of video.mp4. Type equals video.mp4. And by the way, if you want this to make sure that this works on all browsers, you would also add 2 other file types here. I forget what their name is off the top of my head, like WebOG and WebM. I forget, but yeah, you would basically just re-encode this from an MP4 into those files and add those as well. But just to save time, I'm not going to be doing that. This isn't really. I probably will use this in the end, but not in this particular project. I think I'm going to use Vue for that anyhow. But anyhow, so let's continue on. Div ID, we're just going to have a content wrapper for our type. So our H1 level up. I probably will change that. That doesn't really make sense. A paragraph for access. Let's see here. Backing, tracks, tabs, and more for free. And then finally, our last line of HTML is going to be href equals, we're going to give it a class of btn. And this will be let's jam. I think I'm going to change that too. All right, so now this is what we have so far. Yeah, obviously quite a bit of work needs to be done. So let's focus on our main Sass here. So let me get my reference monitor ready to go. I'm just going to create a single variable just for our primary color, which here is yellow. So it's FFEEOO. And then also our body in HTML is going to have a margin 0. All right. You know what? Maybe what I will do is we'll get this situated like this so that we can start to see some of the changes at least. And I'm also going to hit Control and zoom out here. All right. So now we'll go ahead and put in just our body. And the body we'll see, so we'll say is display grid template columns 100%. And the reason I'm doing this is just a center. So justify content. We're going to center the whole container, the grid style approach. And then font family will be, of course, Montserrat. All right. Can't really tell anything yet here. So now let's reference our container. The background, we're going to put in our primary color. Again, still nothing changes. And we're going to eventually put a clip path property, but I'm not going to do that just yet. So header, display grid. So our header has the logo on the left, and then the navigation will be on the right. So we're going to set up a grid container there. So grid template columns will be 20% in auto. All right, and then also we're going to put a padding of 20 pixels. All right, and then we're going to reference our logo. Width of 100 pixels. Oh, I just realized things are not changing right now. Uh-oh, that's why. Nothing was updating. I was wondering what the hell's going on. All right, there we go. All right, we'll say something like right around there for now. All right, technically at 100%, this is what it looks like so far. But again, I want us to be able to see the changes when we're going. All right, so let's continue on. So we have our logo. After that, we're going to have a reference to our nav element. So nav, justify self, we're going to push that to the right. All right, and then inside of the nav, we're going to have an unordered list. List style type will be none because we don't want that in there. The little circles. We're also going to take and get rid of the margin, the default margin added to unordered lists. And then inside of there, we're going to have our li element. And that will be display inline. All right, and then our A elements, padding is 8 pixels on the top and bottom and 20 pixels on the right and left. And then also text transform will be uppercase. And then text decoration will be none. And then color, just black. I'm fine with that for now. I may want to change that up later on, but just good for this, just getting this initial stuff out of the way. So then we're going to come down here all the way at the end, and we're going to start another one for hero. And our hero is going to be a position of relative. All right. You can see how things will start to change. I'm saving this each time. Z-index of 1, and overflow is going to be hidden. And then also we're going to use object fit scale down. And object fit allows you, well, essentially to do what exactly it says. It allows us to kind of control the positioning of the video element inside of it. So just to let you know. And then we're going to reference the video itself. Position absolute. All right, so now you can see it's starting to take shape. Z-index will be -1. So we can get our text, and then width will be 100%. So how did I know exactly, which of these properties and such would work exactly? Well, it was trial and error, honestly. I mean, I've been doing CSS forever, but still, when you're working on a new project and you're doing something, sometimes you don't exactly know which ones are working. So I had to work with some of these properties to get it to work exactly how I wanted it to. So now let's work on the content wrapper for that text so we can get that all squared away. So this is going to be margin 0, and then we're going to put text transform uppercase, and then we're going to put a font size of 5 EM. Oops, I just realized I'm doing the wrong stuff. We're going to put padding 4 EM here, and then this is all the H1 stuff. Sorry, I was looking in the wrong section. I was wondering what the hell, what was I doing? All right, there we go. So also a font weight. I wanted a thick font weight right there of 800. And by the way, if you don't have Montserrat installed, and obviously if you're doing this for a real, and not just like a test like I am, you're going to want to import the font from Google Fonts at the top of the CSS document or in HTML. And yeah, that's good right there. Almost done, by the way. And then we're going to reference our paragraph here for the little subheadline. Got to make that font size bigger. And then also we'll put a margin top of 0 and get a little bit closer to that heading. Let's check this out full size. All right. Now I probably would, at such a large size like this, put a container in so that, or adjust the CSS so that it's kind of more, you know, it's not 100% fluid with the browser. All right. Then at the very bottom, we'll just reference a button, the call to action. All right, so there's a lot of properties with this button that we have going on. So let's get started. It's going to be a background. We want it to be black. All right, and then we're going to put padding on the top. On the top, it's going to be 15 pixels. On the right, it's going to be 50 pixels. On the bottom, it'll be 15 as well, and then on the left, it'll be 30 pixels. And you'll see why I'm doing that in a bit. You'll see what the purpose is. Color, font size, want to be bigger, 1.5 EM. Text transform will be uppercase. And then also font weight will be bold. And then also text decoration will be none. And then margin top we'll do 1.2 EM. And in order for that to work, we have to put display inline block. And then also margin bottom will be 1 EM. There we go. Things are really shaping up. And then finally, to further reinforce this whole slant concept, and the slant concept, if you didn't watch my other videos based on this series where I'm, you know, working on this second YouTube channel called Slant for metal guitar / music / recording. There's going to be strong emphasis on guitar technique and playing fast. One of the concepts behind that is slant. It's a picking technique. In order to play fast, you have to do pick slanting, as it's called. And so that's just my little take on a unique name. And so slant also is in reference to imagery like where, you know, a guitar player, or when a guitar player stands up or something, or playing, you know, with it while standing up, there's a slant. So just a unique play. So I want some of the aesthetics of, you know, the UI design and part of the identity is going to be slants and such. So we're going to work in a slant right here, like in this background at the bottom, and also at this portion of the button. And so to do that, we can use, I covered this before, it's called Clippy. All right, clip path, there we go. Right here. And so for this button, the shape of it, what's coming down here, we're going to we'll make this yeah, the height more like 80. So all we have to do is just drag the shape that we want. Oh, it's something right around there. So we take clip path, this CSS right here, copy it, and then we just paste right there. And then I'll save it. Sweet. So that's why I had to add 50 pixels. I had to add more on the right side because otherwise it was a little bit too close to this. And you want a good amount of, actually I could go more than that. Let's try 60. Because you want an even amount from here and from to there. That looks more solid. Awesome. All right, now what about doing some sort of slant on this entire container? All right, so we could do it in a number of different ways. We could just do one slant where it's just from here to here a little bit. You don't want to do too much, but let's go ahead and try that. Let's go back to Clippy. Where are you at, Clippy? There you are. All right, so yeah, like I said, we could do something like this. And you just grab the code and paste this. We'll try this out though. Let me find which element. It was in the container element right here. So we save this. There you go. That's pretty nice. I might actually end up sticking with that, but I can show you how you can do even more interesting things. For instance, we'll take, I forget which preset I used. I think I used a hexagon. We need enough points to work with to do what I want to do. So what we do is start arranging things. Put this one there. We'll put this one like right here. Put this one just above it. And then this one down. Something like that. I don't know, maybe it'll be stupid looking. We'll see. Now we just copy it. Paste it. Definitely has a, you know, an interesting effect. I may actually even adjust that real quick so that this one is in even more. It's kind of hard to see, but try that again. Yeah, it's kind of like a Metallica sort of effect. I think we're going to make this one come down. One final time. Let's see. Drop that down. All right, now what does it look like? Sweet. Yeah, it kind of gives you that, you know, that Shredder, Metallica sort of feel. This one could probably come down just a bit, but you get the point. So this is pretty cool. Actually, I kind of like this. I'm going to do something more to this. Maybe make them a little bit smaller and more bold, but hopefully you were able to take something out from that, because as you can see, there's a lot of good contrast because, you know, we changed the blend mode to luminosity, and we also took the opacity down quite a bit, and there's just a good amount of contrast here for you to be able to read all this stuff in relation to this. Yeah. All right, so hopefully you found that really useful. I know we covered a lot of different topics there, but I thought it would be interesting. Make sure you answer today's question, which is, do you play any musical instruments? And if you've written or recorded anything, link us in the comments and I will approve it. All right, see you guys next time.